Today we're going to talk about a probiotic-rich food that you can make at home, which is sauerkraut. But first off, what are probiotics exactly and why do we need them? Did you know that you have trillions of little microbes living on and in your body? Some germs we encounter are bad for us, but most of these microbes are actually beneficial. We need them to boost our immune system. We need them to keep the bad microbes in check. And we also need them to synthesize vitamins, metabolize our bile salts, and reinforce our gut barrier. Probiotics can help aid in digestion, and one of the reasons is because it contains lactic acid and enzymes. Lactic acid helps us break down our food as well as absorb nutrients in our intestines, and it can also help with lactose intolerance. Probiotics can help the body protect against yeast infections and urinary infections, reduce plaque buildup in our arteries. It can also reduce inflammation, indigestion, heartburn, candida overgrowth. It can even help with SIBO. About 70% of our immune system is located in our gut, so it's important to have a healthy gut, and sauerkraut will help you achieve that. Sauerkraut contains both antioxidants and flavonoids, which help reduce oxidative stress. Probiotics can signal to the brain to produce certain chemicals such as dopamine and serotonin, which is known as our calm and happy chemicals. And they've done studies on a specific strain, which has been shown to ease anxiety. So in short, it's clear probiotics are really good for us. Naturally fermented foods such as sauerkraut are going to be superior than probiotic pills. It contains a wider range of microorganisms. It's packed with other nutrients. If you make it, you can ensure that it's not pasteurized where the microbes are killed off or the bottle got too warm, and it's extremely cheap to make. So let's make some probiotic-rich sauerkraut. I'm actually making this batch for my dogs, and yes, sauerkraut is great for your dogs too. Grab a head of cabbage, take off the outer leaves, but save them for later, don't throw them away. Slice up the sauerkraut, cut the core out. Aim for keeping the slices relatively the same size. It's okay if it's not, but you just will have some pieces softer and harder than others. Now you're just going to chop whatever other veggies that you'd like to add. Today I'm adding carrots and bell peppers, but I have also previously added things like ginger, garlic, caraway seeds, jalapeno peppers, radishes, onion, hot sauce. You can even add cauliflower or even apples. You can just have fun with it. If you're giving it to your dog, just make sure it's safe for dogs. Next, be sure to weigh your bowl, then tear it out. So you're starting at 0. And then add all of the cabbage, and if you're adding any other vegetables or fruit or anything, add that to the bowl and weigh it, and then take the total amount of the weight and times it by 2% or 0.02. This is how we figure out how much salt we need to add. So in my case, it was roughly 1,800 grams, which comes out to about 36 grams of salt, which you're going to add to it. The total salt content can be from 1.5% to 2.5%. Anywhere around that is fine. The salt is what is going to kickstart the fermentation process for our sauerkraut. It's a preservative, which is going to inhibit the growth of any harmful bacteria, and it will allow good bacteria to proliferate, such as lactic acid, so it will thrive in this environment. And also it helps draw out the moisture from the cabbage, so it helps break it down, pulling out the liquid so it can ferment. Once you've added the salt, you're just going to start mixing it and squeezing the cabbage. Squeeze it for quite a few minutes until you get all of the liquid to separate out of the cabbage, just like that. Next, get some clean mason jars and just start scooping all of the sauerkraut into the jars. Then you want to push the sauerkraut down as much as possible. You want to push it below so the liquid comes to the surface. You want the liquid to cover the sauerkraut. You don't want any of the sauerkraut to be above the liquid. So pack it in there. Be sure the liquid is covering the top of the sauerkraut, and then you want to fill it mostly to the brim. So leave maybe an inch or so in between, because as it starts to ferment, it's going to build up gases and you want some space for that. And this is where those outer cabbage leaves come in handy. So we're going to take those, fold those up, and stick those at the top. And that will keep your sauerkraut in place so the sauerkraut stays below the liquid. And it's okay if the top cabbage leaves aren't below the liquid. If you don't have the cabbage leaves, that's okay. You can use any type of weight. They make weights specifically for that. I have those weights, but my weights are for wider jars, so I can't fit them into this. But any type of weight works. I've even used those little mini condiment cups before too. So just anything to push it down is fine. And then just put a lid on it and make sure it's nice and tight. There's the line where the liquid ends. Now you can do one big jar or multiple jars. It doesn't really matter. On this last jar, it doesn't really fill up the entire jar, but that's okay. Now I just leave these on the counter, mainly so I don't forget about them. It's always good to label the date just to keep track of when you made it. And then the next day you want to open it up, just crack open the lid a little bit to burp it, to let out some of the gas buildup. And you just do that daily for maybe 3 to 5 days after making it. In this case, I think I forgot about it on the second day after making it. So it had quite a bit of gas buildup. So I'm slowly opening this to release it. Oh, my hubby's home.
Just clean that table, bro.
I have this on here.
Yeah, but it's gonna leak everywhere.
No, it's not. That's why I have this.
Well, that stinks. Get that
Sauerkraut. He just loves all my projects. So now the fourth time I'm burping it, it's not so bad. Now I'm not really going to worry so much about burping it. You can maybe burp it once, but you can pretty much just leave it alone for now. Be sure to close the lids tight after each time of burping it.
2 weeks later.
Okay, it's been a few weeks and now it's time to open them. I actually already opened and used this one. You can see what it looks like inside. I use these for the dogs. And of course, once you open it, you stick it in the fridge. I use this handy dandy tool to pop it open. There we go. Oh. Just slowly bubbling out. Just take your time opening it. So what I'm going to do is stick this in the fridge because just like kombucha, it will calm it down a little bit before I open it. So I'm going to stick them in the fridge, pop them open. I'm impatient like I always am. There we go. See how much is in there. Oh boy, look at that. Look at that. That is a lot. Now we can pull this one out. This was just to hold everything down. I mean, it's totally edible if you want, but we didn't need that. Go. Now look how much liquid probiotics that is. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is pour it back in. There we go. Nothing lost. So stick this in the fridge and use it up. So I made this batch specifically for my dogs, but you could technically flavor each jar differently if you wanted. It shouldn't make that much of a difference as far as the salt content. So as long as you're doing like 2%, you'll still have enough wiggle room. So just add the vegetables that you want for everything to the bowl initially. Then you can add additional flavors or vegetables like jalapenos or something like that to each jar. And I'll show you the one that I made for myself. I mean, I could totally eat this too, but the one I made for myself, I flavored a little bit. I have two that I made. There we go. So this one is quite a bit older. Oh, this I had some jalapenos. I think so you could see some of the bits of jalapeno in there, and onion and garlic, cabbage and carrots. Same as this, except I didn't use the red peppers. I used a jalapeno chopped up and some garlic. I think I probably used like 2 cloves maybe. That one's really good. I actually did add a tiny bit of sriracha in there just to give it a little flavor. So you have that as an option. And then, so this one I used caraway seeds. I threw some caraway seeds in there. Dogs can't have caraway seeds. I did throw the jalapeno, so I used basically half of a jalapeno, de-seeded it, carrots, and caraway seeds. And this one smells good too. They're both really yummy. So, and these are good for the dogs. They're great, just great probiotics. Why buy them when you can make them? And this is way better than just like the probiotics that you would buy. So give it a try. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.